all right?
It worked out perfect, Lil. Jared Poland, Fro Knows Photo.com here with the super secret project. I wanted to change it up a little bit. I didn't want to just sit there and be a talking head telling you what to do. I want to show you what I would do if I was to photograph Lil right here with the D3000 and the 35 1.8. I'm going to guess my settings right off the bat because I'm pre-visualizing the light in here. I'm pre-visualizing what I would see. I'm going to run through the composition of how I'm going to compose Lil in the images, from verticals to horizontals to pictures of just her writing or her hands or different things like that. So I'm going to show you in a span of a 10-minute little photo shoot things that you can do to get some really great images even with the lowest end camera. So, being I'm not sitting on the sofa today, I have 80s nostalgia for Super Secret Project. This was by request. Optimus Prime, baby. Somebody wanted Transformers. Well, here it is. Here is my Optimus Prime Transformer that I've had since whatever year, probably 1983, who knows, 84. But yeah, it's all dusty. I brought it out and that's really it. So let's get to the photo shooting. All right, here we go. I have the Nikon D3000 35 1.8. This is a basic setup that anybody can use. And I want to just run through this simple situation. Maybe it's not that simple, but it's something different where I'm going to photograph Lil doing whatever she's doing. You can keep doing whatever you're doing, Lil. Keep doing your puzzles. Don't worry about me. So I have my subject. I have an interesting lighting situation. It's what time is it here? It's 2:52 in the afternoon, but there's not a lot of light coming in through the windows, and I have the regular lights on, fluorescent. They don't give a lot of light. So pre-visualizing, I want to guess. I'm going to be in manual here, and I'm going to guess what my settings should be. So I'm going to start out at 800 ISO because I know that it's low light in here, and there's not a lot of light, and I'm thinking about, I'll shoot at f1.8, 1.2, sorry, 1.8 or f2. I'm going to start at what? Let's get 60th of a second and see what we get. So we're going to just go over composition and a different way of photographing this, how you see things, and then how you translate that to the camera. So let's do that right now. All right, so I'm going to set the camera to, I got to turn it on at least, my settings, 800 ISO, AF single. So autofocus single mode because Lil's not going to be moving, and I'm going to want to lock her into my focus. For those of you who don't know how to change the aperture in one of these cameras that only has a dial in the back, usually there's a plus-minus button. If you press the plus-minus button, hold that down and turn the dial, then you're going to be changing your aperture. So don't forget about that. All right, so here we go. I've got 1.8, 60th of a second, 800 ISO. There we go. There's Lil. How close am I? I think we're right on. How's it look on the screen? Boom. Lil looks good. So let me see what the histogram looks like. A histogram, being that this screen is so terrible on the back of the D3000, that is. Histogram looks sweet. I can probably go to, let's see, I want to go to f2 to give me a little bit more range, and I'll go to a 50th of a second. So I'm composing Lil. Here you hear the beep. That's because I'm not in continuous. That's allowing me to lock the focus in where I want it. So there's Lil. She's the histogram is cleaner. She's nice and sharp at f2. So I did some horizontal where you could see that I threw her off to the left side, as you saw in the photo. So now we can move in and out. There we go. Then we can go vertical. Try some things. Then we can mess around and we can get like, hi Lil, how are you?
Okay.
I'm shooting pictures. You can keep doing what you're doing. Get down here on a low angle. Yeah. I'm using the book to draw me into Lil. I recompose to get my focus right. Whew. And I also don't breathe when I shoot, so that's why you hear me breathe at the end of that. Wow, that's really good. So what I did is I blew the book out and have her in focus. I want to do that even more, just her eyes. There we go. So different compositions. So you have me over there, you have me there, vertical, horizontal. Now let's see what I can do from over here, further away. Vertical, we can get her whole body in. So there's that. Now I'm going to get straight on. And I'm lined up with the carpet that is straight on the floor. So I lined Lil's feet up. Angles are important. You want to make sure that everything is, in my book, I want to make sure that everything is straight when I am shooting. I don't like off angles because they tend to make the image look weird. Or when you turn the camera sideways. I'm not a big fan of turning the camera sideways. So what you're seeing here is how I'm running through different ideas in my head, all with a basic setup. One lens, going from tight shots to wide shots to side shots. You know, what else can we do here? I'm going to come over to this angle and let's see what we can get with the light. Because I have a nice background. I have, in the background, as you can see in this photo, the background is blown out. As I zoom in here, oh, my focus is off because I think she moved. So let's do it again. There, I'm locked in that time. And it looks like, yep, that time is, oh yeah, much sharper. Look how sweet that looks. Look at the background, it's blown out. And this is with a 35, so if I get a little closer to Lil, I'll show you how we'll blow the background out even more. There we go. And you see how the background is blown out even more. So there's the difference between the first one and then the second one when I got closer. So all of this is being done with a simple setup. This cost me 500 bucks. If I can do it with this, you can certainly do it with this. All right, what else? Let's look for objects that we don't normally see. So we focused on Lil. She's got a ring on, or let's focus in on these hands. All right, she's got a pencil she's working with. Lil, hold the pencil right there. Don't move. Put the pencil right here. Don't move. So it's, hold this open.
Take the glasses off.
I'm not shooting the glasses. I'm shooting you. I'm shooting your pencil. Hold it. All right, go ahead. So what you saw there, it's okay when you're working with your subject, if you see something that you know may move, to ask them to hold. Hold that, don't move. That's okay because they recognize that that you see something. So what I do is I usually say, hold that, don't move, and say, okay, I got it, keep going. It's okay to interact. Try to be as, in the background as possible. That's what I do. That she's just letting me photograph her. This is how most of the subjects allow me to photograph them. I do very little or very subtle directions. I say, okay, hold it, and then I hold it, and then I get it, and then we move on. I don't even know what that looks like. Let's see. Oh, that's really good. I'm focused. Oh, yeah, here it is. Boom. There it is. So, yeah, that's running through different examples of just different things you can do real quick. In a matter of 5-10 minutes, we went through how many different angles here to capture Lil in some easy photos with this setup. So, there you go. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. Hey there, everybody. So you just watched me go through the photo shoot where I photographed Lil, basically showing you the images as they were edited through the whole time. When they were taken, you saw the edited image. So now we're going to go through each image, process it, how I would tweak the file, as well as talk about the composition. So let's jump right in here. We have Lil on the sofa. I threw her off to the left-hand side. I am big in rule of thirds. I don't really put things in the middle unless they are really needed in the middle. In this case, I just threw her off to the left-hand side. I leave some empty space to the right. The background is blown out a little bit. But let's take this image from blah, because that's how it's shot. With the raw is flat until you then do something with it. So normally, what do? I like to pump up the contrast. See what happens when I pump up the contrast? We go from boring, flat, to contrast. Look, now the colors start to pop a little more. My exposure's pretty good. I tweak it just a little bit. Some of this clarity slider here. So as you can see, I didn't cut I cut her legs off, but I did not cut them off above the knee or in a weird place. This feels normal, so it's more natural. Sure, I could come down with composition where I fill the top of the frame more, but I don't know. I leave a lot of space in certain images just to show the space. I think that that's important in certain images. But you can see this is nice and sharp. This was shot at 1/60th of a second at f1.8. With the next image, you see that I switched it to 1/50th of a second at f2. So basically, I wanted to give myself a little bit more leeway with my focus. So if it was slightly off or there was a little slight movement, the 2.0 would then hopefully catch that more so than the 1.8. But that's not a big difference in terms of difference in what you're going to blow out or what you're not going to blow out. 1.8 and 2.8, not a major, 1.8 and 2.0, that's not a major difference. So let's see. What else? 50th of a second. Because I went to f2, I am cutting down on the amount of light that is entering the camera. So to compensate for that, I then slow my shutter speed down, which leaves that open longer, letting more light in. But also, as you slow your shutter speed down, you may start to get hand movement. But we're not breaking that rule here, as we're using the 3518, which the equivalent of a 52 millimeter. We're right on the borderline of where you should be able to handhold. Remember, tuck those elbows in, lock everything in, don't breathe when you're shooting, and you should be fine. So let's just make this black and white, just for the fun of it, just to show you that we can. There. Pump my contrast up. Let's move the exposure slightly again. Boom, move my blacks up a little bit, some clarity, and really some general sharpening. You can see my general sharpening right here. Amount 45, radius is 1, what's that say? Detail 39, and masking is at 70. So I like it. I like the composition. I like this black and white. Nothing wrong with that, right? So here, then we moved in tighter. I'm just showing you that with the one lens, you can move in and out and change your composition just by moving. You don't need that zoom to move in and out. Look at the background, it's blown out. We're at f2.0 at 800 ISO. That's cool. So let's see. This is going to be some cool color. Boom. Pump up that contrast. It's a little too blue. Let's make it a little more warm. The lights are very warm in that area because they're a different color. They're more yellow. Not much really needed to be done here in terms of exposure. I'm pumping it just a little bit on the plus side. Let's see what black levels do here. Just a slight tinge and some clarity button. I want a little bit more brightness because Lil looks a little dull. Let's make her brighter. Too bright. There we go. Nice and bright, nice and sharp. See, even at f2.0, I still got it really nice and sharp. So what I'm focusing in on here are her eyes. The eyes are the most important thing here. That's what I'm looking for. So that is why I'm locked in. And you want to make sure that you lock in there, because if you lock in the nose at 2.0, her eyes are going to be out of focus, and the image isn't going to be usable in my mind. So here we go. Here is number 8, a vertical. Weird color. Gonna pull back on that a little bit. Let's go up with the exposure slightly. Pump up the contrast. There you go. Some clarity, some black levels. And there you go. There you have a nice vertical shot. Nice and sharp. Nice and colorful. See that D3000 800 ISO? Still holding some nice color. All right. Let's go to... Yeah, so what I did here is I used the book in the foreground to draw you into Lil here. So basically remember that photos are 2D. They're not 3D. They don't see like your eyes, all right? So when you use objects in the foreground to then blow out, they draw you into the image. In this case, it draws you into Lil. It gives it some more dimension. We're creating dimension by using objects. So that's something I do a lot, where I use the object to add dimension to my photos. All right, here's just a simple tweak. Nice color. Let's see what we do if we make it a little warmer. There's Lil. She's nice and warm. She's all smiling, doing her puzzle books, her chicken soup for the soul. Puzzle books. There you go. There's Lil. Same thing here. I like the other one a little more because you can see her smiling. You can see that. See the background's all blown out. She's nice and separated because I'm nice and close, and the book is blown out. I wouldn't end up using this. This isn't an image that I would end up selecting because I like the one right before it. So skipping there, we have this. Let's just make it black and white just for fun. It's a little dark, but you see this? Watch this. We go from flat to boom. Look, we just created some more dimension here because our contrast is helping. Contrast is going to create more dimension because look how flat it is. Flat. Contrast. It just, I love contrast. Thick contrast. A little bit there. There's Lil. Hello. Nice and in focused. 100 years old. Go figure. Lil. What other ones? This is... Okay. See how the book is open right here? This is even flowing. It's creating more dimension. You can feel like it's 3D, like this book is closer to you. So I like that. One thing I just noticed up here is the light. That's maybe something you could... in your composition. I didn't really notice it when I was shooting through the D3000. It has such a small viewfinder. But here's Lil. There we go. Look how nice this color is. Look at this. Nice contrast. She's nice and sharp. We're nice and focused in here. Clarity. It's nice and warm. It's already warm, so I'll make it slightly warmer. My general sharpening, and there we go. This is one I wouldn't use. Her eyes really aren't open. I'll just tweak it real quick. No, you know what? We'll skip it. I wouldn't end up using this shot. Then we move into her vertically. Same thing. Contrast followed by slightly moving the exposure. Here it's a little yellow. I'm pulling back on that slightly. Clarity, pumping that up. Boom. Quick little edit. Same thing. Actually, here, check this out. I'm going to hold down the command key, or it's an option, Alt or something, or Control on the PC these days, and I want to sync these two files. They were pretty much taken the same time and the same. See that? Now one is synced from one to the next. That's good enough for me right now. So here's where Lil had a little bit of movement. That's why this photo isn't good, because she started to move, and at a 50th of a second, she's causing some motion blur. It's not really your fault because you're sitting still and locking in. The reason I am in single focus is because I want to lock in. That's why you always hear me, the beep. I'm constantly refocusing, because if she moves or if I move or my breathing takes me in or out, then my focus could be off. In this case, she moved, which caused the motion blur, and it's not a usable image. This one, don't know how, I just missed. Focus slipped. I don't even know it. Nowhere is it in focus, so that could be just the lens and camera miscommunication going on there. But then here we go. Look how sharp she is right here. Look how the background is blown out. All right, pumping up my contrast. Look how it now separates Lil from the background. If this was taken with a 3.5 or a 5.6, one of the kit lenses, you just couldn't get this separation. The point of using the 1.8s or the faster glass, one of the points, is to help separate the background, the subject, from the background. In this case, look how nice and sharp Lil is in comparison to the background. Nice, soft, and blown out. So here's this tweak. A little bit of yellow, that's fine right there, nice and sharp. Now let's look at the next one. See the difference from here? Look at the background. As you get closer with these lenses, like a 35 1.8, you have to get closer to your subject to blow the background out. It's harder to blow the background out when you have a wider field of view. If you're going to use a 70 to 200 and you're zoomed out to 200 and you fill the frame, putting the subject on the left-hand side, you'll see a beautiful bokeh on the right-hand side. That's the blown out of focus area. They call it bokeh. So that's the blown out area. That comes with the better glass. Sure, you can do it with the 5.6s if you have a really long background, but there is a difference between how smooth the bokeh is in a 2.8, a better piece of glass, versus the lower end kit lenses. It's something that you should work your way up in your 5-year plan to get better glass, because the better glass is going to allow you to do some better things with your images. It doesn't always make you a better photographer, but it gives you the right tools to get those better images. So here, let's tweak Lil. She's tweaked. Boom. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and there's Lil for you. I missed, she moved, or I was moving here. I didn't lock my focus in. I wanted to show her hands. This is just showing you that there's other things you can look at during a photo shoot that just aren't about the portrait. There's other objects. And that brings us to the pencil shot. Let's just make it black and white because there's not a lot of color there. I missed slightly here. Actually, it's not too far off, but this one isn't as good as the last one. So here we go. You know, it's interesting. Lil's 100 years old. These are 100-year-old hands. But look where the focus is going. You see how it's running straight through here? Look at this. You actually have a line. She found a word. I don't know what word it is, but she found it. You can see how the focus is so narrow at one point, F2, that it's running straight through here, but I'm focused right on the pencil. Look at that. Let's our black levels come up. Here we go. Look how nice this looks. Don't forget, you can change your color temperature. That also changes black and white. You see how that works? But the further you're off with your image, just shooting raw doesn't mean that you can be really far off with your image. Because if you're really far off, that's when you start introducing noise and things like that. But if you're pretty close, these little tweaks, a quarter of a stop here or less, it's not a problem. And there you got it. Final image of Lil, I found her hands, they're old, and she's working, she's still doing these things. And, that's really it. So this runs you through how I edited each photo and the composition, why I shot it that way. So look for more of these long form videos. Leave a comment. What do you think of these long 15, 20-minute videos? You getting a lot out of them? Do you want to see more of these? Or do you want to see these broken into two and separate? I like these long form ones. I think it's a lot of information. Hopefully you like them. So until next time, Jared Poland, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.